My name's Jessica, and I'm a professional certified coach at Lyra Health. I'm here today to talk to you about 5 key ways that you can enhance communication with your loved ones. Before we jump in, let's get clear on what's important about having good conversations. Good conversations help to build trust and deepen our sense of intimacy in our relationships with our loved ones. By our willingness to open up to another and to feel heard and not judged, we build trust in the relationship and can begin to rely on each other for support. By having meaningful conversations, we can also start to learn more about each other in a way that deepens our understanding of one another. This can lead to more intimacy, behavior change, and consideration. These conversations can really work to strengthen our relationship. Effective communication helps us feel closer, heard, and understood. We can come to rely on one another for safe spaces to be ourselves, to share our joys, our sorrows, and what's most important to us. So, now that we've touched on the benefits of what's important about communication, I want to share 5 key ways that you can help enhance your communication with your loved ones starting today. First, I want you to think about the time and the place. One thing we really want to keep in mind is to meet our conversational partners right where they are, especially in the beginning of trying to deepen our conversations. The checkout line at the grocery store might not be the best time to discuss with your child how they're feeling about not being able to participate in their high school graduation ceremony due to COVID. Nor is the dinner table likely the place to check in with your partner about how they're feeling about that big virtual presentation they have to give tomorrow while your toddler is banging their spoon on their high chair. Take into account your situation, timing, and your surroundings as you practice having meaningful conversations. Times and places where you won't be interrupted or too rushed are often best when it comes to connecting more deeply through conversation. Secondly, I want you to ask open-ended questions. You've taken into account your surroundings and now feels like a good time to check in. That's great. But how do you start the conversation? And maybe most importantly of all, how do you keep it going? The key here is to be sure that you're asking open-ended questions. When we ask closed questions that can be answered with a yes or a no, it has the tendency to shut down the conversation. A better way to keep the conversation going and help draw more out of your conversation partner is to ask open-ended questions like, how can we still make graduation special for you even if you can't be together with your classmates? Or, what concerns do you have about your presentation tomorrow? A helpful tool for asking better questions is the question pyramid, which I have right here. The base of the question pyramid are questions that start with which or closed questions that tend to prompt yes or no answers. These help you clarify and get information quickly, but they also tend to shut down conversations. The middle of the pyramid is focused on questions that start with why, when, who, or where. These help to stimulate more dialogue, but aren't as effective as the questions that exist at the top of the pyramid. Questions that start with what and how. These really lead to the most dialogue that you'll be able to get out of any given conversation. My third tip is I really want you to listen. We've all been in conversations where we can tell the other person isn't really listening to us or trying to understand what it is that we're saying. In order to avoid this in your communication with your loved ones, I want you to try to keep in mind the following tips on active listening. First, ask and then be quiet. Only ask one question at a time and be focused on your conversation partner's answers. As Stephen Covey stated, we want to practice listening with the intent to understand and not to reply. Secondly, it might be helpful to think of this as going with the flow of the conversation. You'll likely are going to get distracted by your own thoughts or how you might want to reply, but try to practice mindfulness of letting those thoughts come and go so that you can stay focused on what it is that your partner's saying. Thirdly, in order to confirm that we're interpreting what we heard correctly, try practicing reflection. Phrases like, "It sounds like you've really prepared for your presentation tomorrow, but are pretty nervous. Am I hearing that correctly?" This helps our conversation partner feel heard or correct us if we've made an incorrect assumption. Our fourth point in enhancing our communication with our loved ones is to not equate their experience with our own. One of the fastest ways to shut down a conversation is to enter into comparison of feelings or experiences. This can lead to your loved one feeling not heard and ultimately a lack of connection or future communication. It's helpful to remind ourselves that every experience we encounter is unique to us. We all have our own thoughts and feelings around what's happening in our lives or the world. And while sharing relatable experience might feel like a way to connect with the person you're speaking to, it can sometimes devalidate their experience. Simply keep in mind when trying to communicate with your loved ones, it's not about you, but about listening to them and staying curious by asking open ended questions to help to get to know their experience or what's most important to them. Our fifth step is to practice presence. One of the simplest gifts we can give to our loved ones is the gift of our presence. This means being fully available to enter into conversation with them, free from distractions. To enhance your communication with those who are important to you, be sure to turn off the TV, stay off your phone, and eliminate any other distractions. This could mean waiting to chat until the kids are in bed or when you're on a walk with a friend. Any time that you can be really focused on the conversation. So, to help you enhance your communication with your loved ones, I encourage you to practice these 5 things. Be thoughtful about the time and place as you enter into a conversation. Ask open ended questions from the top of the pyramid, ones that start with what and how. Really listen to understand and not respond. Fourth, don't compare your experience with theirs. Stay curious and keep asking questions. And finally, practice being in the conversation and nowhere else, free from distractions. I hope you find these tips helpful as you get to chatting more thoughtfully with those you care most about in your life. Thanks for your time.